Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
They added all this AI stuff, and I was like, every time I come in here, actually, I just this
Uh,
morning, I just canceled Zoom.
oh,
I'm leaving.
okay.
I'm gone.
Oh,
They're raising their prices. They're going up.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're jumping up to 150. It used to be
Uh-huh.
$99 throughout the
Uh-huh.
pandemic and stuff, and now it's
Yeah.
150. And I'm like, I found something better that
Mm-hmm.
is only a little bit more expensive, but it is a lot more on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
especially me as
Mm-hmm.
like an editor, like I'm actually editing this stuff. I'm not just attending meetings.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay.
uh, yeah, I'm gone.
Very cool.
This will be our
I don't
last
know about this. I didn't know about this
Zoom.
price jump because I think my renewal is later. I'll find
Oh,
out
okay.
later.
Well, now you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
And that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and decide if you're gonna stay. But what's
Uh,
up, bro, man? I was doing a lot of
yo,
stuff and yesterday, and I
uh,
saw we haven't done one of these since October.
really?
We haven't put one out.
No.
We have not. This is our first one of 2024. Welcome to
Okay. Yeah,
2024.
yeah,
If
exactly,
you are a
exactly.
regular listener of this deep, deep cut podcast, this is one of
Yo.
those podcasts that's just in the cut. Like
Yo.
sometimes I promote it. I give it the old promotional push.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I don't. I'm just not in the mood to. But it hasn't found a lot of. I feel like it's one of those podcasts that if you know, you know,
Yeah.
and if you don't know, you don't
You
need to
don't
know.
know. You don't need to know.
You don't need to know.
Yo.
But
Yeah, man.
2024, man, what's going on over there with you? What's going on
Oh
over there?
man. It's cold in the US right now.
Yeah.
So our folks back in San Antonio, they're freezing their butts off these days.
Mm,
Um, Less cold here in Georgia, but
nice.
still we had a little bit of an Arctic blast come through. That always makes me unhappy. I don't like the
Yeah.
cold, so I get real
Yeah.
cranky. But that's what's been going on, weather-wise. It's just some okay. So right before I logged on, I was trying to figure out what I've been listening to, uh, and I've been listening to a lot of Overclocked.
Oh,
And
nice.
yo,
Nice.
yo, yo. So
Cool.
I think it's so funny because when we're younger, oh, especially when I was younger, you couldn't tell people you listen to video game music.
I know. I
And
know. Ain't that
and it was
something?
like, it
Ain't
was
that
like
something?
a little bit of a mark of shame. Now, for
Hey,
people who
hey.
don't know though, OC
Mm,
Remix, let me tell you. So I downloaded because they make their whole thing they put it together in a collection, right? Because it's just
mm,
people making music. And
yeah.
they just want to make video game music. Now I'm going to put that in air quotes because as you
Right,
know,
right,
Overclock doesn't play. And
right.
I downloaded collection 0 through 3000 like years ago.
Wow.
And
All of them.
and then but where they're at now, I'm
Mm,
telling you, bro, after 3000,
yeah.
between like 3000 and now 4500 where they're at tracks,
Wow.
I don't know what they did. Oh my God, the music is so good. So
Man.
good. The people are so talented. And now it's kind of like, yeah, I listen to video game music and you can tell people that.
Yeah, you
And
can. Hmm.
and it'll be your little secret that this music is better than anything they hear on the radio.
Hmm.
Like, it's
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Bro, the I don't listen to a lot of rap these days because I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm
Hip
older
hop's
school.
changed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older school, and the new
No.
stuff doesn't sound like the old, and my ear is for the old. That's all,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
to hate or anything, but I heard the dopest rap I'd heard in like 5 years.
It was an overclocked?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I'm looking at the title. It is by three people: Rukunetsu, Anton Karaza, featuring Yusef Kellybrew, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, Mysterious Gold Edition.
That's interesting.
You gotta look this up. Because,
Yeah. You've
I
mentioned
was,
Overclock a couple of times now, and now
yo, but look,
um
Link's
yeah,
Awakening,
I've been sleeping on them.
Mysterious Gold Edition. I hadn't heard rap like this at least 5 years, bro.
I'm writing
And
it down, actually.
and when I listened to it in the beginning, I was like, okay, it's another vocal track because Overclock has some tracks on there where they sing, they rap, they do whatever they do.
Hmm.
And but then as it got further, the things, and we always talk about creativity on this podcast. Let me tell you what's
Hmm.
so I was always fascinated with video game music, and I tried to explain this to somebody I knew way back when. She didn't get it. And
Hmm.
I was like, it's a skill. You are a composer. You're not just
Yeah.
making random music.
Yeah.
You're making music to fit a theme. To
Absolutely.
you're keeping in line with the characterization. You're doing like two or three things. You're
Right.
making the music. You're telling a story. You're telling the story to match a mood and a pace. And like it's hard to do that. Let me
Yeah.
tell you about Mysterious Gold Edition. It is entirely Legend of Zelda references, but it's so dope. It could be played on the radio, and people who didn't know Legend of Zelda would just think it was a
Hmm.
badass rhyme. But
Hmm.
the whole thing, bro, Legend of Zelda references all day, every day,
Hmm.
weapons, scenes, monsters, quests. When he said in the very beginning, cutting the grass, you cut grass, I was like, oh man, they got everything in there.
That's funny.
And had the nerve to be jazzy. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to hype it up
That's
too much,
cool.
but dope rap, and then broke out the jazz, dog. I mean,
Mm.
so anyway, that just makes me happy. I
It
was
does,
thinking about
man.
it because
Yeah.
we like we like good work, like skills,
Exactly. Yeah.
like
People who've got skills, people who are
yo
original. I
yo.
value that more and more today. And I love what you're saying about video game music, how it was just totally it was shitted on. It was hated on. It was
Mm-hmm.
something for kids. It was something. Remember, we had our mixtapes
Mm-hmm.
and we'd put them together. We'd
Yeah, oh, yeah,
record. We'd play the games
yeah,
just to get the
yeah.
music.
And it's funny because now they'd be making Transformers 10 and 11
I know,
and
right?
all
Yeah,
this stuff, and you can't. I mean, uh, that's why you're trying to do your creative thing. There's no need to
right,
listen to other people because at the same time, people are like,
right,
"Oh, you listen to video game music," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, but you watch Star Wars 9 and
right.
Transformers
Exactly.
11."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
it's funny because I told Joanna a couple weeks back. I said, it seems like I'm on X almost every day, X Twitter, and
yeah.
it's a bunch of fucking nerds
Hmm.
running the show. I'm serious. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
serious. I know this one guy who I don't know him personally, but I've seen his account. And he's kind of one of those typical guys that you see on X, like
Hmm.
blowing up his account. He's super bombastic in his
Hmm.
posts and all this stuff. A little bit controversial. He likes to
Hmm.
walk on the wild side, but it's mostly for clicks. It's mostly for show.
Hmm.
And what did this guy do? Like the first thing he did after he had an anonymous account for
Hmm.
years, and then he switched over to his actual person. And one of the first things he did was he start streaming himself playing video games. And I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, which is fine. I mean, I
Yeah,
am
yeah, yeah,
too,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's like here he is, he's coming
And
off, he's
then,
got the super anonymous account, he's all
yeah,
tweeting out all this shit and all this
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
what does he want to do? He
He wants
wants
to
to
play
have his
games.
audience
He
watch him
wants to
play
play
video
games.
games. And he's not alone. There's so many people
No.
that it's not just video games, it's nerd culture. It's
Yeah.
totally all okay and mainstream now. And it didn't used
Yeah.
to be that way.
No. Well,
When we
that's
were
that
kids,
metaverse
it
stuff,
wasn't
man. With
that.
blending that.
Yeah.
Okay, look. This so I'm playing a video game, old school, Dark Deity,
Hmm.
pixelated, and at first I was confused because there's an option in there. It says make the join order random if you want. I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know what this is. And you can choose linear or random.
Hmm.
I chose random just to change it up from a game I'd never played.
For sure.
And bro, the voice acting and the characterization was so messed up. I was confused because what random means is that the plot goes the way it's supposed to, except they swap out the characters who joined in the array. So
Hmm.
this was so bad because it's like it's like it imagine, I don't know, Ninja Turtles.
Hmm.
Join order is random.
Hmm.
So Raphael, I swear to God, looks like April O'Neil
Oh.
and sounds like April O'Neil with a man's
Oh.
voice.
Oh.
And
That's
her brother is actually Shredder,
oh.
who's
I don't like this
supposed
already.
to be Donatello, coming
Ooh.
in armor.
This
Name
is not
says Donatello.
no, no.
It was
You've
so
already
bad.
lost me.
It was so bad, dog. I
What
got
is going on
confused.
here?
I got 11 it's a tactics game. I got 11 battles in.
Oh,
I had to reset it from the beginning because I was
yeah,
like,
it's too
I'm
messed up.
at first I thought that the main character was transgender because
Right.
every time she popped up, she kept grunting and she was like, well,
Hmm.
and they kept calling her like Garrick or Irving or something, and she clearly was a princess whose
Mm.
daughter was the brother of the. I'm telling you, you swap pictures of people, you change their voice acting. It's
Yeah,
no good.
man.
Okay, but the thing about this that I want to tell you about Dark Deity, once I cleaned it up and like reset it and let them join linearly, these characters have little bonds dialogue to where they talk to each other. Just two
Hmm.
characters at a time talking. There's so much wisdom in what they're
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
And one of them said, the character was like, she's an assassin. Her name is Brooke, and she's talking to one of the nobles. And the noble is like pretty petulant, and she lost her position in her kingdom and she's plotting to get it back. And Brooke, the assassin, this is the second time they've talked to each other. She's like she had insulted this noble named Sloane the first time, and Sloane's like, "You don't know me." And
Yeah.
but Brooke's like, "I don't have to know you." She says, "I've known hundreds of you over the years." and
Mm.
and then Sloane's like, I don't like this. And then Brooke's like, "Prove that you're not the same as all these other nobles out here."
Mm.
And Sloane's like, "Well, how do I do that?" Brooke says, "Stop trying to chase your lost title." And she
Mm.
says, and here's the wisdom. She says, "I've seen so many nobles spend their entire lives trying to get back to where they were in childhood." And I
Mm.
was like, that's so profound. Because
Yeah.
when you think
I like
about
that.
MAGA, for example, Make America Great Again,
Mm.
at the end of the day, I mean, it's all very vehement, very intense.
Yeah.
But what they're really going for is a time when things were simpler. So
Hmm.
you didn't have to see those strange people dressing in those strange ways, acting for those strange rights, and you
Mm.
didn't have to share the citizenry with those folks over there, and
Right.
everything was in the box, right? Before we
Hmm.
globalized and all that other stuff. And they talk about making America great again, and I'm like, America's been the same pretty tricky America that
Right.
it's
Right.
always been
Yeah.
from the
It's
beginning. I don't know what they're referring to, but the I think the principle is that things used to be simpler, and people are like
right.
yearning for that childhood simplicity, and it doesn't matter
Mm.
how extreme they are or how big they talk or whatever. At the end, everybody wants their baby rattled back,
Mm.
because it's too
It's so true,
complicated.
man. And it's funny because I listened to this I'm listening to this history podcast right now. Actually, it's a re-listen.
Hmm.
Dan Carlin's hardcore history of his his telling, his just man, it's grisly, it's dark, but it's so detailed and just the way I like history, like just with a bird's eye view as much as
Yeah,
possible
yeah, yeah, yeah.
without the lenses and the filters. At least, he has them, but they're minimal. They're minimal with
Mm,
this guy.
hmm.
And he's known for his hours long podcast episodes. This one is like
Hmm.
4 hours long, and the
Hmm.
whole series is probably like 25 hours long. It's a
Hmm.
podcast. It's called
Yeah.
Supernova in the East. It's
Okay.
all
Okay.
about World War II from the Japanese perspective,
Ah. Hmm.
which is a rare. I think I don't I've probably mentioned it to you, but I don't know if I've mentioned it on this podcast before.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm re-listening to it because I'm
Yeah.
actually working on another project that I want to refresh my knowledge
Okay.
of Japanese history, especially that history.
Yeah.
But I bring it up because he says something in different ways, but often that a lot of these movements like Make America Great Again, conservative movements, not just in America, but around the world, right?
Hmm.
They yearn for this past, that the childhood that you said,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it never really existed
No. Mm-mm.
in the way that they think of it now, that they try and manifest it. It never really exist. It didn't really exist in that type of clear detail.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when time passes. Like the nuance is lost.
Hmm.
And you could go back to any era and
Yep.
go think about when we were kids, the 90s, right? What were they talking
Hmm.
about? The ozone layer. Remember the ozone layer?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still don't know what the hell happened to the ozone layer. I'm
It's
still waiting
gone. Do
for
you
the,
know that? You went to Antarctica. You know it's gone.
I mean,
We lost it.
I guess
Went away.
it left and we're still here somehow.
Yeah.
And but remember, that's all that you heard it all the time when we were a kid. The hole in the
Yeah.
ozone layer. It was in all the hip hop songs. It was
Yo,
the TV shows, all the stuff. That was
yo,
the
yo.
thing. And
Yeah.
so my point is, I'm bringing it up because that was a thing that we heard a lot. And you
Uh,
go to the 2000s era. What was it? It's terrorism, right? This is from the
mm-hmm.
American perspective, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was all you heard about was terrorism. 9/11 had
Mm-hmm.
happened almost all throughout that decade was terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back and you put yourself in any point in time,
Mm-hmm.
there was always something.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago it was COVID. Now it's
Yeah.
inflation. And of course, there's wars,
Yeah.
Hamas, Israel, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Palestine. There's something in every era
Yeah.
when you're in the era. But after you leave the era, all the
You
fuzzy and
feel like,
happies
yeah, I
remain. Oh,
know you
hey, do you
exactly. You feel
remember?
like,
You remember that old Fresh
yeah,
Prince from the
you
90s?
remember Bill Clinton played the saxophone,
Remember
right?
Bill Clinton? You remember this? Remember Barack Obama from the 2000s? Remember when he was shooting hoops? Like you go back to this nostalgia,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
as we get
We don't remember 80s, Iran Contra and all that
Iran
stuff.
Contra,
But we do
oil
remember
crisis, all that
hip hop.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we remember hip hop. So my point is,
Yeah.
it's like, and I sympathize and empathize with, and this is what I love about this podcast is that regardless of his personal, he does it so well that I couldn't even tell you what his real personal beliefs are.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that from a
Yeah,
history podcast. And I think there's a lesson there as far as just having empathy for
yeah,
everybody. I mean,
yeah,
because his point is, and he says it a lot in different ways, but it could be you,
yeah.
depending on the era
Yes, it
where you're
could.
from, where
Yes, it
how
could.
would you like to be born in
Yeah,
1920s Germany?
yeah. And we
Would
take
you
for
not become a
granted,
Nazi?
you know,
How could you know?
like we exactly. We take for
Exactly.
granted that
Yeah,
the spaces we're in.
absolutely.
Let me take for granted is the wrong phrase. We don't think about how the spaces we're in have their own direction.
Mm,
And the space
yeah,
itself can just move you somewhere like that in the direction of that person you wouldn't have voted for, but now your country's there, and
absolutely.
we don't
And
think
now that's
about
the only
that.
choice you got. And
History's going to look back on, say, the 20s and going to be like, ah, the Roaring 20s. Part of it was fun, but part of it was like a real, man. It's pretty nuts, and
right.
it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but
Yeah.
the whole country went that way, and the people were just in it,
Hmm.
and they went along with the ride for prohibition and
Right.
suffrage,
Yeah.
you
You mean
know,
the
all the
1920s,
things.
right?
Yeah,
Not
sorry,
the
1920s.
2020s now. Okay. I
Yeah,
was gonna
yeah, the
say
20s, the
we still in this
1920s,
one.
right?
And
No, the
who knows?
1920s. And yeah, I mean, we just the whole ship moves in a particular direction,
Exactly.
and then when you're
Exactly.
finally out of it in time, I mean, it's really easy to see, not see. It's easy to look back with a sense of
Hindsight.
nostalgia, but
Yeah.
when you're in it, you don't know.
You don't
You
know.
going wild. You having the strong opinions. You shaking your fist at the TV and all that other stuff too.
Right.
But you don't
Right.
feel like you're doing anything. Oh, I
And I
remember when
wrote
it was
something
yesterday.
exactly. You're ranting
But
and
today you're
raving.
mad. But today you're
But
just as mad and you're just as fired up as wow.
yeah,
It's so weird. It's just weird stuff.
I wrote something a couple of weeks ago actually because I was rereading Yuval Noah Harari's work Homo Deus, which
Mm,
was a big inspiration for Sirius and Limnic, and so was his first book, Sapiens.
mm.
And I was rereading that, and it's this. Oh, man, I'm losing the thought. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'll come back to it. I lost it.
Mhm.
But I've been thinking about that a lot about perspective and how it it really just depends on where you're at in history. You have this is what it was. This is what the thought was. The the benefit of hindsight, right?
Mm,
That
mhm.
we have today. We have a lot of us, especially in the West, we have the time and the space and the tools to easily look back and be like, what was it like? We can bring up firsthand accounts. We can watch YouTube videos of people that are living it now, and we can easily assemble the pieces of history together, at least from our viewpoint today.
Hmm.
But we forget, like not too long ago, we didn't even have those tools within our
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Those tools didn't exist to easily
Yeah.
just look back and look now and really just see the whole timeline of this is where we
Yeah.
were, this is where we're at now, this is what happened along the way. I don't think you've ever been able to do that,
Yeah.
yeah, with as much fidelity and accuracy
Yeah.
as you can now. And you can do it so easily. It's an internet search away. And now with AI, it's even faster. And so
Hmm.
I think that people forget that a lot because history
Yeah.
does move really fast, especially nowadays. Things move so fast.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep up. Like I don't know about you, but I stopped. I don't even try, man. I can't I can't keep up
Yeah,
with
they,
it.
the thing with me is like I try not to keep up with it. I just don't. I mean, if it
Yeah,
finds me and somebody's and I hear it
that's where
around,
I'm
right?
at. That's where I'm at.
Then there you go. For a split second, they updated our computers and it started having the little news thing on the bottom. It was like breaking news
Mm.
now. I was like, okay, let me click on this
Let's see
breaking
what's
news
breaking.
now. Let's see what's breaking. I swear to God, half of it was
No, no,
craziness
no.
following the Kansas City Chiefs and and
Oh, right.
and
Yeah, yeah.
just things, what's going on with the Kansas
No,
City
no,
Chiefs.
no.
I'm like, why is this breaking news? Oh,
You you
Bill Belichick and all this stuff. I'm like,
you realize how much shit is just it's drama.
yeah, it
It's
really,
not
and
really news. It's
I'm
I felt
like,
the same about X because I've pulled away from it this year, like my
I
main
feel
account.
like it
So
was
much of his
just,
bullshit, man.
I said, can't these guys just play football? Like, why don't you leave them alone?
Let the boys play.
Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? And like it wasn't okay, it wasn't half, but it was a good one-fourth of the top headlines. And it was like 3 days in a row. It was all about like Kansas City Chiefs. I'm like, this is not breaking news. I had to get rid of that on the taskbar. I had to shut it down and just like move
Mm-mm.
it because
Yeah, get out of here.
it's got the little red thing and they know
I
that's
know. Yeah, they
psychology.
put the
They're like,
flag
it's breaking right now.
and that's the thing that sucks because you real news, then you're like,
Mm.
it's like Boy Who Cried Wolf, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if everything's
True.
breaking every day,
Yeah.
what about when something really happens? And
I
and that's
know.
what I hate because it's like if it's something like that's big, then I want to
Yeah.
know about it. But
Yeah.
if it's not like it is most of
Yeah.
the time, get the hell out of here with that, man.
Okay,
Like,
so I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. It's not complete change of subject, but okay. So Coach Prime, have you heard of this show?
mm-mm, no.
Okay, I think it's like Deion Sanders. He's coaching some
Oh,
some.
okay. I've seen it. It's on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, right?
Okay. Yes. So
Mm,
so he's I guess prime time or something like that. But he's coaching a team, and I don't watch it. I'm not interested in watching it or anything.
mm,
Um, not to like down anybody involved in that.
mm,
But I feel if I'm in college or something and my coach is a superstar
mm,
and there's this whole media thing behind my coach being a superstar, I'm distracted. That
mm,
doesn't help me at all. It might even piss me off
mm,
because, like, it's the coach. I'm not saying it's like a servant leader role, but I'm wondering how I can play with my coach's ego at the center. Maybe he's got no ego, but the show's
mm.
premise is about Coach Prime or
Right.
something like
Because you're
that.
watching
And
you're
I'm
watching for
just
Deion Sanders. You're
you
not
watching
watching
your
for these
yeah,
kids because you
so
don't know these kids.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
what it would be like to play on a team. You're trying
Mm,
to play, and then you got cameras and your coach and all this stuff. And I'm like, Coach,
yeah.
are you
Hmm.
coaching us or are you like posing
Right.
for the camera? Or
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm so tired of this cameraman here. I just
Hmm.
I didn't make a good play. I don't want that to be on TV. I think it's embarrassing. I want to perfect my craft. I want to I want to get out on the field and do these things. I
Mm,
can't do it with this media machine in my way. I'm
mm,
annoyed. And it doesn't matter how famous or whatever it is. I don't think it's an honor. I feel for the people who are on whatever team he's coaching.
mm,
And Deion Sanders can go anywhere. He can do anything. He's
mm.
just got the right. He can get on a plane and go to the moon, or I mean, planes don't go to the moon, but he can go wherever he wants. But
Right.
it's like I'm coming here trying to get my future, and I think he brought in a couple of other people who were like superstars too. That rubbed me the
Right. You
wrong
brought
way
in
too.
friends. Yeah.
I'm just like, or maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Like I said, I don't know. But the bottom line for me is like the premise of you having a responsibility to your people,
Hmm.
but then you got this hype machine
Right.
which is focusing on you. I'm like, man, what about your people though?
Right.
And I don't. I mean, I just don't like the. I don't like the. It's just smells bad. You know, it doesn't pass the smell test
Yeah.
in terms of people able to fulfill their duty to others, right?
Hmm.
If you a coach, you have a duty. Well, our mayor of Glenville is damn good. Like
Hmm.
really, really, really good. Bernie Weaver, whoop whoop, he's good. And yet I can't imagine having a film factory following Bernie Weaver around while we're
Yeah.
trying to have city council meetings. It's annoying and it's like it breaks some of the integrity, right? NFL folks don't have their locker rooms open at all times. Oh, why would you, what is this? You know? I'm
Hmm.
sorry. That's just something that gets on my nerves. I thought I'd just share that because we were talking about like hindsight and perspective and stuff, but
Yeah.
that just gets on my nerves. Mm,
No, I got you,
definitely.
man. I think about this too, as far as, I don't know the specifics about those things about Deion Sanders or anything like that, but I feel like nowadays I could see how the the kids might like it actually
Yeah, maybe they
because,
might.
and maybe they
You know.
do,
Yeah.
but because they know that, one, I'm getting publicity because, right,
Hmm.
because a lot of these kids want to go pro. I mean, you don't get, because you don't just get on that show.
Yeah.
You apply, you got to make sure you're actually good. It's one of those shows. Like, I did I tell you I tried out for American Gladiators a long time ago?
I think you did. Did
I
you?
think I
Oh, but
did,
we
but
only
of
hold a
course the
little. We
people don't.
only.
The
Yeah,
people
that
don't
was.
know.
Yeah, it's
I tried
but
out
it
for
was
American
like brief. It was
Gladiators.
like a little. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was very brief. At the end of
yeah,
college, this was a long time ago. I'm not gonna say how many years.
yeah,
But
yeah,
at the end of college, me and a friend,
yeah,
we were
yeah,
super into CrossFit at the time, and
yeah, yeah.
we went to a casting call.
Oh,
And what it was is you had to actually prove that you could do the physical stuff. And the test was
yeah,
pretty rigorous too. Like it
yeah.
was no joke. They want that's like a minimum standard, the physical
Mm-hmm.
standard.
Yeah.
But the second level standard is why I bring up this story. It's because after the physical test, then you sit down to interview. And
Mm.
that's the real thing. And it's not like a job interview or anything like that. It's more of, what's your story, kid?
Uh-huh.
What's your angle? Like, why would somebody be interested in you in
Yeah.
this? Because these are all, and this is what I love about this now. I think about storytelling a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it everywhere now. Now that I've kind of got the
Yeah.
lens on and the vision, it's literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is to get Deion Sanders, a, a, a football legend, American football legend, and with a bunch of kids who are just boring ass kids, or they're perceived as boring, right? That doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm.
TV.
Yeah.
So you got to find people that have either A, they have a super personality, they have that like Hollywood kind of spark on their own,
Yeah. Yeah.
or you got to dig, they're really good football players, but they're kind of boring. And so now
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like a TV show producer, right? They're kind of
Uh-huh.
boring,
Yeah.
but man, he's got NFL potential.
Yeah.
So let me dig for this story. And this is where you get
Mm.
what Joanna and I so affectionately call, at least I called it this, and Joanna started calling this by proxy, the sob story. Well, there's an old Key and Peele sketch. They did something on. We just watched it a couple because my wife likes watching these clips, and
Uh-huh.
I like watching them too. These old clips from Comedy Central,
Yeah.
and they did a spoof of "So You Think You Can Dance,"
Uh-huh.
and so he comes out, and they've got him on the stage, and he comes up and is like, he dances horribly. His dance is terrible. And they're like, no, Joseph, that's not going. You need to go. You're done. And he's like, did I tell you my mom was a crackhead? Joseph, please get off the stage. We really need the stage right now. Did I tell you that this is my baby cousin that I raised her and put her through school all on my own? Joseph, no, it's just not going to work. There's nothing that you did I tell you I studied all night and got my doctoral degree? And I raised these two kids on my own. Come and get your ticket. And it's funny, it's a joke. And maybe it was funny but maybe I didn't do it justice. I don't know. But the point is,
That's something
they're
that media people,
they're
only those of
looking
us raised in media
right.
would
We
understand.
don't think about this
Yeah.
from the viewer perspective because all you see is the end result. But if I'm putting
Yeah.
this together, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, how can I make this interesting? How can I make this? It's not enough to just have Deion Sanders because that's the angle of the show is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
bringing up, and at the end of the day, and it sucks that you have these kind of moving parts and that it is kind of this who's got a story type of deal on the back end, but the message of the show is a good message, right? You've
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
football
Yeah. Yeah.
legend and he's bringing up the younger generation.
I
That's
guess.
basically
Yeah.
more or less the tagline. And
I
the kids are
guess,
benefiting. They benefit, they get coached by a legend. They get their
you
effort
know,
shown because so many high school kids, they don't get that effort
yeah.
shown. They bleed and sweat on the field, hot, freezing rain every
Yeah.
day. They want to go pro. A lot of them do,
Hmm.
and nobody sees it. Nobody
You're
sees
right.
that.
I
And you
mean,
and I have been there too. We've
I
been
just
in the
like,
streets. I know I've been there.
I
Like
guess that's just,
sitting behind this computer, nobody sees
yeah,
what you do. They
that's
only
true.
see the back end. So here's a
That's true.
chance for them to see you practicing in public. And that goes a long way for a kid, 17, 18. I don't know how old these kids are, but for a kid, young person who
They might be
wants to go
college.
pro.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But I
But
mean,
they're young. They're young.
I guess it's just my personality. There, because you're
Yeah.
right. This is all. Look, my personality is like, look,
Yeah.
this is wasting my time. There's a
I
focus
know.
goal, and I want to go from here to there.
Right.
And my coach is supposed to be here doing this, and all
Right.
this other stuff.
Distraction. Right. No, I feel you. I feel
You
you.
know,
And you're catching me and it's interesting, even though it's a total random thing that you brought up, and of course I didn't know anything about this,
mm,
but it's interesting because I spent the last year or two learning to not only be on the outside, be that be that's why I can think like this producer now, right? Because that's how I'm thinking. Like
mm,
I'm the artist making the stuff. I'm writing the books, I'm making the songs, I'm doing that. But then there's this other side that I've cultivated that is very much this is the forward facing. This is what
yeah,
people
yeah,
I need to tell. It's not enough for me to just say what I did.
yeah.
That doesn't stop people. I can tell you I'm a one man studio and I
Mm,
produced music. I produced this whole podcast. I wrote all these books, all this stuff. You don't care. You only
mm,
care if it's something that's going to emotionally draw you in or it's going to give you something. And really, I thought about it. Old school TV has a really big disadvantage when it comes to the
mm,
media landscape these days. It just does because unlike online in the digital space, I can offer you something. I
yeah,
can say,
yeah.
Ajani, if you watch my video, I'll give you a 10% discount on
Mm,
X. And if
yeah,
you,
yeah.
depending on the nature of my videos, let's say we're talking about video game music.
Mm,
You like video game music. I'm talking about how to make video game music. I'm
mm,
showcasing video game music. I'm playing some of your favorite overclock stuff. I'm breaking it down. How
yeah,
would you like for me to give you 10% discount on
yeah,
my deep dive into overclocked? You might even be able to get a chance
yeah.
to
Well,
go
they
to a
started
live,
doing
that
something
type of
like
thing, right?
that. There's these commercials now with the QR code up there.
Exactly. See, because they're
So,
trying
you
to
know,
make it more
yeah,
interactive and
yeah,
stuff because
break the fourth wall with that. Yeah.
they're trying to compete with these digital things, but that's not how people consume old school TV.
Mm,
Old school TV is sit back, kick your feet up, have your meal, sit there with your
oh yeah.
significant other with the kids, and it's the Simpsons, right? It's the
Yeah.
couch gag. Everybody sit down and turn on the TV.
Yeah.
That's TV. It's very passive. So really it's really hard for these TV producers because all they
Yeah.
have is a story, is an
Mm, mm,
emotional story, and they want as many of them as possible. That's
yeah.
why the American Idols, the all the reality shows, the America's Got Talent, those types of shows, they're still around
Hmm.
because it's all stories. It's not about the judges and the panel. They even have like a meta story in there, but it's very small. It's
Mm,
showcasing, hey, here's a regular American, here's a regular person,
mm,
regular dude, regular girl, and let's hear their story.
yeah, yeah.
And so you get as many of these in as possible, and eventually you hit somebody who's on the other end that says, "Damn, that's me.
Mm,
Damn, that's just like
yeah,
my mom or
yeah.
my brother or my sister," and they're drawn in. And so that's tough, man, because all they have is the QR codes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But as a digital creator, I can do so much more. I can get
Mm,
right in their
mm-hmm.
inbox. I can get right on their social feed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
TV, they're they're struggling because
Mm,
they can't do that. That's not the expectation when somebody sits down to watch TV.
mm, mm.
People don't expect to do anything when they watch a TV except watch TV.
Well, yeah, kind of true, kind of true, mostly true.
Mostly true, but you
We
know what I'm
still,
saying, right?
yeah, I mean, and it is kind of a couch co-op type culture and stuff like that. We still watch our British murder mysteries, and
Yeah,
we still have family time every night,
good.
basically. So we sit here and we have our meals. You're in there, the
Yeah,
dogs are in there.
we
We're
do the same
watching.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we do the same thing over here, and
yeah.
we're eating. And when I say they're not doing anything, I'm saying like, of course you're doing other things. You're eating. You can be on your phone or whatever. But
Yeah, but as far as calls to action, I get what you're
right,
saying.
seeing the call to action,
You
right?
get
It's
the
not a
person
video
to,
game. Video game
yeah,
is the opposite in the direction where you have to be engaged, or you're not
yeah,
playing the game.
yeah, yeah.
It's the 100% option opposite of the way you consume TV. Like you are just
Mm,
invested if you have a video game on and you are playing it.
yeah.
Like there are games that are more passive, but I'd argue that it's still on the spectrum. It's not TV where the expectation is, okay, I just flipped the thing on
Yeah.
and it's on. I can be watching it or I'm not watching it. I know it sounds similar to what I'm saying, but I
Mhm,
think you
mhm.
understand what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
maybe the
yeah.
people listening do too. I don't know. I'm not a TV producer, but
Mm,
I'm thinking a lot like this because man, I've done so much stuff in 2024. And
mhm.
what is this, the 18th today? That I literally wrote it down. And we're not going to have time to get into all of it. I literally made a list.
Uh-huh.
And I rarely do that before we talk, but I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
I was like, even if we don't get it in the main show, like after
Yeah.
our post show talk, when we turn the cameras off and the recording off, I'm gonna tell you about this stuff because
All
it has
right, all
been.
right.
What I'm gonna do is, and now that I teased it, I feel bad that people are probably
You're not
like,
gonna
well,
tell
what did
anybody.
he do?
Wait,
What did he do? And so, okay,
the
I'm
secret,
gonna
bro.
I'm not gonna be like that. I'm, I ain't gonna be like that. I'm gonna try and pick out what I think are the top three things that I've done
Okay, okay.
so far in
Yeah.
2024, and I'm gonna do this like on the fly with my biggest things.
Uh-huh.
I think the biggest thing that I've done is honestly, I have to say it, yesterday,
Mm, mm-hmm.
website redesign.
Oh, okay.
Bro, the website looking clean.
Okay. Okay.
The website has
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I need to close this door. I had a dog just break into the room and
oh, okay.
he's letting
I've been
cold
seeing one of the faces back there. I
he's
saw one of
letting
them
cold
like
air
I saw I saw one of them.
sitting there. That was probably Rachel.
Uh, it was she was in the background. Just
Yeah, Rachel does that. And now Sam is in here. He's just there looking scary. Anyway, go ahead.
okay. So the website.
Uh-huh.
I've had my website up since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But all this time, it's been just kind of like a showcase, and it's been, I've adopted different models over the years,
Mm-hmm.
but I try and change it up every year. I try and either add to it or do something. So what started as an annual update of my website turned
Mm-hmm.
into a complete just nuke. Like I literally got this WordPress plugin
What
that
is this fancy spinner on your website?
yo,
Okay. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
yes,
Oh my goodness.
yes,
I see all
yeah,
this.
yeah, man.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What started as a simple update turned into a complete redesign. I actually deleted almost all
Oh.
of the previous stuff that I had on there. And
Oh,
I
Okay.
basically have used everything I've learned
Look at
about
this.
marketing, about
Yeah.
making it forward facing, and I'm making it more about how can I articulate my expertise?
Yeah.
How can I offer it to people in a way and tell them? Because that's what it is. You're saying a message. How can I say it very clearly and directly? And that's what the website does now. It's all
Yeah.
there. Um, I realize like the main thing I like to do is write books,
Yeah.
not not really writing essays or articles or social media stuff. Definitely not. It's more writing books. I love writing books. And so, yeah, I want to help other people do that too. So if you're listening to this and remember all these years we've been saying you're gonna want to
Uh-huh.
join our list.
Uh-huh.
You sleeping on us, you in this deep cut podcast. And okay, now's
Yo,
that time. Go to
yo,
keithhayden.net, fire it up, and
look at
you'll see my
this.
offer, man.
Look
And
at this.
I don't play. I put the money on there. I
Yeah.
confidently put it on there
Yeah.
because at this point, you can't knock the hustle. You can't
Yeah.
not see the stuff that I've done and the stuff that I've put together. It's so plain as day. And when I started piecing it
Yeah.
together, when I made that graphic that has all the books, that has like Sirius and Limnic, that has Tower
Mhm.
of Babbling, has all my books on there. And it's not
Yeah.
even all of them, but it's a good collection of them. I
Look
was
at this
like,
blog. This is looking very pretty, bro.
yeah,
This is
yes.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
KeithHayden.net, man. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is different.
It's
Wow.
way different. It's way different. It's a
Okay.
different level. It's a
Uh-huh.
different form of engagement. And I think what sparked this is over the holidays. You know, I got
Hmm.
tired of after I finished Sirius and Limnic last month, the whole definitive collection. I just got
Hmm.
tired of basically you're sending stuff out, you worked all this stuff, all this time, put all this effort into this huge project, multi-year,
Hmm.
multimedia discipline project and people just ignore you. They treat it
Hmm.
like another social media post. They treat it like another
Hmm.
email. And I'm like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
you're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're out. And so here's what I did. 2 weeks ago, I sent out an email and said, because over the holiday, I merged my list. So
Hmm.
I had a list on Substack. Then I had my email list. I had over 100 subscribers
Yeah,
on
yeah.
my email list. And I was like, but do you really have 100?
Mm.
No. So what I did was this. I made a survey of
Mhm.
all the stuff that I can do.
Mhm.
I said podcasting, I said music, I said AI, writing, blah, 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 all this stuff. I said, hey, here's this huge survey. Go fill it out. And by the way, if your ass don't fill it out, you off the list. You have until this date
Uh-huh.
and fill it out or you're gone.
Uh-huh.
I sent out 2 reminders after that.
Uh-huh.
And it was funny because Joanna came in when I was writing the email and
Uh-huh.
she saw, at first I was going to make it to 24 hours.
Uh-huh.
You have 24 hours. This message will self-destruct. She's like, that's so harsh. What if they don't
Mission
see it?
impossible.
What if they're working? Blah, blah, blah,
Uh,
this, that, this, that. And I was like, okay. I softened my heart up. My wife softened it. So if you're still on my list, you can thank my wife because she gave you an extra 2 days to get it done. And guess what? Most people did not get it done.
Uh-huh.
So I went scorched earth, bro.
Oh my goodness.
75%
Man. Okay.
gone, gone.
Hey.
I deleted them.
Okay.
Straight up delete, no notice. And
Dude.
that's the thing. Most of the people won't notice anyway because they're
Yeah,
either
yeah.
not reading my emails or they're not taking action. They're not
Mm,
doing
mm,
anything. They're not clicking on stuff. They're not interested.
mm, mm.
And I think that's a hard thing to accept. It was for me in the past because it's like I am over here putting a lot of effort into this stuff that I make, whether it's a course. I've made a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So much. If you Google my name or if you search my name, at least on Microsoft Bing, I haven't tried this on Google. If you're on Google, maybe you can try it and tell me what
Mm-hmm.
happens. But if you Google keithhayden.net, the entire page one is me.
Hmm.
The entire page.
Yeah.
It's my graphics, it's my podcasts, it's my writing,
Yeah.
it's my X account, it's my Medium account, it's my YouTube channel. It's everything. It's all me.
Mm.
I used to be the number one Keith Hayden until Keith Hayden Jr. had to go run for office. This motherfucker stole my spot. That's all right. That's all right.
We don't know that guy.
He will fall. He will fall in the Google rankings eventually. But you search KeithHayden.net,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if you search Keith Hayden, page one. Try it right now. If you're listening
I'll
to this,
try it.
try
I'll,
it.
I'll
Try
try it
not
right
you. You don't
now.
have to try it now, bro. But I mean, like, I'm just saying, like,
I want to
people
see what comes up.
call
I
to
want to see.
action for people that are listening to this. Try it. Search Keith Hayden and see if your boy ain't
Look at this stuff.
dominating the one pager.
I see this guy on Ballotpedia.
Keith Hayden Jr.
Who is this guy?
He
No
didn't
party
win either.
affiliation. He
He didn't
ran.
win.
He ran for Florida's 18th.
He ran for Florida, man.
Meet
And
Keith
he
Hayden
ran me out
Jr.
of page the number one slot on Google. I had it, man, for a brief moment. It was like it was all me.
No, man, there's another Keith Hayden making videos, music
Yeah, there
videos.
is. There's another black guy, Keith Hayden.
Meet Keith Hayden. This guy, he's just singing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's that black guy. Yeah, I think I got mistaken for him one time on social media, actually.
He's on TikTok too. He got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
pictures here on this page one. These people are trying to compete with you, bro. You need to go
Are you
have.
on Google?
Yeah, I'm on Bing. You need to have these people dealt with,
What?
man.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to call. I have to call the dogs in, get them up.
These people,
They're getting me down, man. But
naval
no,
intelligence professionals. But I mean, no, yours is top rank. That's
it
true.
is.
I mean, the books,
It's up
your
there.
books are top rank, yo.
Right, right. And if you search, and I loved it. I actually searched Sirius and Limnic. I hadn't
Uh-huh.
searched it in a while, and it's actually indexed in Google. It's like science fiction podcast.
Okay.
That's me. If
Okay.
you just search
Very
Sirius
cool.
and Limnic, it's me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, that's what I've been trying to do is really make my stuff more forward facing, really take it
Mm.
seriously, because that was one of my New Year's goals is to actually really make an effort to make money from this.
Mm.
Because I have not been doing that.
Yeah.
It's all up to until this month. It's all been a lot of it's been learning,
Yeah.
getting skills. A lot of it's been practicing different skills. A lot of it has been just awareness.
Hmm.
It hasn't really been about making money.
Yeah.
And I've learned, if you want to make money, you got to solve people's problems. And the only way
Hmm.
to know what those problems are is to speak directly to them.
Mm.
And
Mm.
fortunately, we have the tools to do that. We have email, we have social
Yeah.
media. You could easily talk to people. The problem is finding the right people at the right time
Yeah.
who need the help. That's the problem. And so that's why you get on social. That's why you have a website like I do now. That's
Hmm.
basically like, hey, I have this problem. I've been wanting to write a book, but I have no idea where to start,
Yeah.
which is it's a common problem. A lot of
Yeah.
people have ideas for books, but they don't do it because they're like, where the hell do I even start? How do I even
Mm.
do this? How would I publish it? How do I write it?
Yeah.
How do I get a cover? All this stuff that we've done over and over and over again, you and I,
Yeah.
they don't know how to do. And remember, flashback to before your first book. You didn't know.
No. No.
You can start writing, but then like how are you going to actually turn that into a physical book or now an
Yeah.
ebook? You don't know. This stuff's a mystery. And so I'm like, this is what I like doing. This is what I know how to do really well. And the last piece, which I need to talk to you about, I
Hmm.
can talk to you about after, is the getting it to a physical book.
Hmm.
That's the last piece
Yeah.
that I don't have, that I haven't done like myself the whole way through.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to correct that
Mm.
this
Okay.
year. I'm
That's
looking to
cool.
correct that.
That is
And
cool.
so,
It, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like you're starting off with a bang. Me, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, like the opposite end. I'm starting off with a whimper,
that's
because
just one
I
thing
tell you
too.
what.
That's just
Oh my
one
God.
thing.
See, yeah, you're doing things.
That's
You
just one.
marketing machine up in here. Me,
Yeah.
I like went the other way.
Oh,
And took,
slow start,
okay,
huh?
no, what I did, no, it's not even a slow start. It's like,
It ain't even started.
this is
The
like an
car is
old,
still in the
the
garage.
car
It's not
still,
heated up yet.
so bro, I did very, very quietly publish a second edition of Principles of Time Travel, because
Oh, nice.
I do
Cool.
need to start, um putting the material out there for people to understand the next two books.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
because if you
We got to
read,
talk about that too.
yeah,
Getting
if
your
you
stuff out there.
read my next one and the one
Yeah.
after that, it's gonna I'm gonna be referencing things that don't make any sense, and
Yeah.
I don't have room to put that stuff in there. Like I have a lot of references to future technology, to things,
Hmm.
especially in book four, and I have to publish one, two, three, four, five in order to get there. So I'm working
Yeah.
on getting the motivation. I'm working on getting the motivation to publish the second book in the series.
Hmm.
Um, but really, man, what I've been doing is um, getting used to my journey of 1,000 miles because, on the one hand, as always, my research is kicked up.
Hmm.
More discoveries, crazy stuff,
Hmm.
crazy stuff. The stuff I found, the stuff I'm doing, the stuff I
Yeah.
discovered, and you know, I uh, I've been really kind of framing myself on more like a cowboy's quest, like
Hmm.
a loner, just
Yeah.
you you up there going west is you and your pack,
Yep.
your backpack or whatever,
Hmm.
and you got, maybe you meet a couple of people along the way, but nobody's going to see what you're doing. And I was just thinking about this yesterday, talk about telling stories and relating to folks, and I
Yeah.
said nobody's going to relate to what I'm doing
Yeah.
because
No.
when you think about what it is to go west, so to speak,
Hmm.
and pioneer something. Um, the, the the folks you left behind, I mean, they know the city. They want to be there. They want to be where the family is, the community
Right.
stuff is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you're out there in the wilderness and there's just nobody to turn to,
Yep.
on what you're doing. I can't turn to people and explain to them what
No.
I've done data wise in the Astro stuff.
Right.
And because it's way over there, bro. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
way over there. And so I had that idea. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I'm on step like
Hmm.
20 or or something. I'm
Hey.
with one step at a time. And my hardest thing
Yeah.
is getting used to something that won't even appear or be remotely ready for 2 or 3 years. Like
Right.
I think towards the end of last year, I finished all of my short-term projects.
Hmm.
And my thing is like I'm not as um man, I don't have a lot of faith in stuff.
Hmm.
And I was just recording about this a couple of days ago. And I said, man, I lost my faith in I'm not gonna say everything, but in a
Hmm.
lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought about it. I recorded about it for a couple of hours at like 3 a.m. as I do.
Hmm.
And I was like, if I don't often ask for help in things,
Hmm.
because I'm always kind of in my own world,
Yeah.
doing my stuff. But if there was one thing that I actually just need to get better at and I cannot improve it myself, it is just this gradual loss of faith in stuff.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
everything, you really do get to the point where you have acquired some kind of explanation for everything you see.
Hmm.
And and most of that is just, it becomes jadedness. But
Right.
then you get older, you're like, oh no, that's not Santa Claus. That's just
Right.
just a commercial holiday that we like
Right.
to, you know,
Yep.
you just there's insults to your. We talked about childhood. I guess is a neat way to bring it full circle. People trying to go back to where they were in childhood.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to do that, but I know that there were some things that I didn't know. And now that I know, they're not as
Right.
exciting. And
Yeah. No, I feel
so
that.
so
Yeah.
so I think as I've gotten past the point where any of my projects are immediately finishable,
Hmm.
man, it was a hard blow for me as a creator to n- finish my last project that could have wins.
I see
Because
what you're saying.
we talk about this at work. When you're trying to accomplish something, you break it up into little sub project.
Yep.
It's like, okay, how do we
Hmm.
win today? How do we
Yep.
generate that? And I mean, there's so much advice that we could give and that other people could give about that. Oh, break it up into small parts and all this other stuff. I said, yeah, but what if you
Yep.
just don't have the motivation? It just, you've got. three or four or five roads ahead of you, and all of them are long as hell. All of them. And man, just a month ago, you had something to where I could do this next month, or I could do this next week, or I'm
Right.
working on this, and this is what's going to be the result. And now I don't have any of those.
Yeah.
I got three books that I need to write. 900 pages, bro. The
Mm.
one that I'm currently writing, the second edition of Laurentia 2, my asteroid dictionary, instead of 1,000 asteroids, it's 21,000 asteroids, and
Yeah.
instead of 300 200 pages or whatever it was, it's now it's gonna be 900. And
Right.
I can only do 10 pages of editing at a time because they're
Right.
dictionary entries.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
long.
it takes 5 hours for me to get through 10 pages of things. And then
Mm.
I just don't, it's just the progress is so slow.
Yeah.
And man, that's kind of been where I'm at. I'm just
Mm.
one
Yeah.
step,
It's a slog.
two steps,
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
steps. Nobody's going to see anything until 2027. And
Damn.
it's just kind of hard to live with. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
I
doing
feel
it because
that.
I love it. But
Yeah.
as a creator, it's a long journey, bro. You know.
Did I tell you? Actually, I know I haven't told you about this because we haven't talked since this happened. Did I tell you
Mm.
about my last marathon?
No, no. How'd it go?
It
I know
was a
you were
disaster.
training for it.
It was a disaster.
What happened?
Long story short, made it to 36 kilometers and
Mm,
thought I was feeling fine. And then legs seized up,
mm,
fell back, and I was down.
dang.
I rallied. I got up, went down again, and by the time I had rallied the second time, and by the way, I'm skipping past the pain and bro, some of the worst pain I've ever been in.
Wow.
Physical pain.
Wow.
Like we're talking my entire leg system was just destroyed. Like
Dang, dang.
it felt like it was being crushed.
Mm,
And but I got up, and by the time I got up the second time, it was too late. I was running out of time. I had 5 kilometers left. And
wow.
kilometers, that's about 3 miles,
Mm.
three
Oh,
point
yeah,
something
yeah,
miles to go.
yeah.
And I didn't finish. I got timed
Mm,
out for the first time.
dang. Mm,
And that's not even the end of the story.
mm,
Because I had gotten so far, unlike last year or the year before in 2022, I had run the same thing. I made it to 31 kilometers and same thing happened, but
mm,
they have the retirement point to where they can take you back
mm.
to the stadium. I passed that.
Oh.
So what happens is the Japanese car, the chase car just comes up and says in Japanese, "Hey, we're sorry, but the race is over. Please get off the road and
Wow.
you're done." And they're
Dang.
quick with it. This is Japan. So
Yeah.
immediately they pick up the cones, they pick up the trash, the race is over, traffic is resumes. And so here I am,
Wow.
5 kilometers from the start. I don't know where I am
Mm.
because all the race markers, most of them have been taken up.
Oh, dang.
I have no money because I
Mm.
was running the marathon
Yeah.
and you just get supplies on the way, but all the supplies are gone. My
Mm.
phone was like on E, had like 15% left because I
Dang.
had been using it to like track my run the entire time. This is a couple of hours. It's almost dead, so I can't call anybody. Joanna was actually off island. She was a TDY or on a trip somewhere, so she wasn't even here.
Yeah.
So she's gone. And I looked at the map, bro. My car was parked probably like that 5 kilometers and then some.
Mm. Oh, dang.
So I proceeded to make the longest walk of my fucking life. Yes, and this is coming
Oh
from a
God.
military veteran who has
Oh
marched,
God.
who has slogged it in the snow, in the rain. I've done that.
Oh.
This was worse just last month.
Oh.
It took it, bro. You know when you're in a video game and like your character is about to die and it's like a cutscene and you just got the heartbeat sound and the screen's flashing red
Yo.
and every time they walk in, but the controls ain't working right.
Yeah, yeah, they're
You're
dragging.
pressing up to move
They're
them.
limping. They're dragging
They're
you.
limping.
Yeah.
They fall
Yeah.
over. Like that was me.
Yeah. Oh no.
That was
God.
me. Every step was a quick time event.
Oh no. Oh
Mash
no.
A to get up. Bro, I'm serious. With the pain included. Like it wasn't like
Oh
my legs were
God.
locking up because I had no money to buy any fuel, like to buy any drinks or anything. I didn't have any water. And then the skies darkened. I'm not even joking. The skies darkened and
Oh
started
no.
drizzling. Thankfully, it did not rain full
Oh,
out, but it got cold. It's just this was
oh
last
man.
month, December. And I walked for an hour and 45 minutes back to my car.
Oh wow. Oh
I've never walked that long without support, like without something, water,
yeah.
canteen, whatever, anybody knowing where you're at. And so
Dang.
the only reason I bring up this sob story, it's a horrible story.
It's your
And by the
ticket.
way,
No.
if you want to hear the whole story, I made sure to
No.
document this because I knew
God.
if it's a funny story in hindsight, but man, it was
Oh
rough.
no.
If you
No,
want to hear the
no.
whole story, go to my podcast. Maybe I'll link it in the show notes. Making Mind. I was sure to record the entire detail of it. There's
Oh,
2 episodes of my podcast, Making Mind, where it's just kind of my personal podcast. And yeah, you can hear the whole story. It's called The Last Marathon, because I don't plan on
oh,
running another full marathon after this. I'm
oh
officially
wow.
too old. And it's not that I'm too old, it's that I know what it would take for me
Yeah.
to it would take nothing less than me training like an elite marathon runner,
Mm,
like taking it seriously like that for me to successfully complete another marathon. I would have
yeah.
to like fuel up correctly, and I'd have to make sure because I this was the second marathon. Like I told you, there was a disaster in 2022. I started training in April for this one.
Mm,
8 months of training.
uh,
And I was like, okay, this is my body telling me it doesn't like doing this super long shit anymore.
yeah,
It,
yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, it's getting a little much. Just especially for like I
Uh,
like to be casual with it. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to be a CrossFit marathon hero, elite athlete guy. I just do it for fun. I just like
Yeah,
to run. The only reason I bring up that story is because that's what it reminded me of. You talking about how you're
yeah.
on this journey, this solo journey,
Long.
and when you this is the mine was the physical manifestation of
Hmm.
how it just feels like it's never ending.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
endless.
You know.
It's only thankfully is no physical pain, but it's
And you
only
know, it's one of those things to where you can't give anybody any advice. Like you can't. You just be like,
yeah,
look.
nothing's
I
done. You
mean,
have
that you
nothing to
know.
show
No,
for it,
you just it's what it is. You got to
At least I got a t-shirt.
just get back to your car. You know, that's what you.
You don't even have a t-shirt to
I
show.
mean,
Like,
like you don't have the pep talk. You don't have
no.
anything,
You don't
bro.
have anybody that can understand
No.
um what it's like to be in that position going through this long race,
Yeah.
like you figuratively for you, literally for me.
Yeah.
And it's just you're just out there and you're doing it. And I feel kind of the same way about Japanese too. Like I've been and when you were mentioning your asteroid stuff because it's so beyond. The subject is beyond what people understand about it. Like nobody really knows what it is. You're basically laying the foundation for a new field.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell you anything about it. They can't ask about it. They don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
And it's the same with, I mean, I was thinking about that with Japanese as well. Like I'm so deep into Japanese. I'm so high level reading novels, writing in Japanese, this type of
Hmm.
stuff. There's no way I can explain. It wasn't resonating like, and I was posting about it. I was posting like, hey, here's how you read in Japanese, here's stuff in
Hmm.
Japanese, but it didn't resonate.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? And you mentioned that. I was like, yeah, people won't.
It
It's
didn't resonate.
and it's
Yeah,
like there's some things where you can look at it and say, oh, well, maybe the people don't care. Some things, but then there's
right.
other things to where it's not comprehensible,
It isn't.
and it's nobody's fault. I mean, when you get there in your expertise, you just that's what it means to be there.
Absolutely.
That's an
Yeah.
expert.
I'm right there with also with AI as well. Like I was
Mm,
on a space just last week and I mentioned that I write with AI. And this is something
Mm-hmm.
maybe you saw on my website that I put
Yeah.
like a disclaimer, like, hey, I'm writing with AI. It's part of my workflow, about a part of
Mm-hmm.
my creative process. And if you don't like it, then you should probably bounce.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have another disclaimer that says, hey, if you want to learn about it, then I'm eager to teach you.
Yeah.
But I bring it up because I mentioned that I write with AI, and this guy was like, I don't like AI writing for me, and it's pretty generic. And I
It was
said,
like, well, you don't know what
guy,
you don't know what it is.
I
Then.
said, and I like this guy too,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I said, guy, I guarantee you, the way you're thinking about people writing with AI is not the way I'm writing with AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've spent the last 9 months perfecting my processes, making it making it
Mm-hmm.
into workflows, making it into GPTs. That's another on my
Yeah.
list of stuff that
Yeah.
I've done. I won't
Yeah.
go into it now, but point is I've refined this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying, Chat GPT, write me a book, write me a story, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. My stuff is complex as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incomprehensible. And it's another one
Yeah.
of those fields that even among AI enthusiasts, of which
Yeah.
I'm a part of that community on X, nobody's this deep into writing with
Yeah.
AI. Most people are into the images and the videos, the flashy shit. Writing is
Yeah.
just kind of like, they use it for their social
Yeah.
media stuff, but it's very minimal touch. It's
Yeah.
very just, repurpose this, turn this into a blog post. It's surface level shit.
Yeah.
I'm I've gone so deep into stylizing, into my prompts are very just iterative. They're basically natural language software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is. It is
That's
in
cool.
my experience, and this is how I know my stuff is different because most writers and creatives, they don't have the software and technical
Mm-hmm.
experience. They just don't have it.
Yeah.
I do. 100 days of code, even just doing the 100 days of code,
Mm-hmm.
learning the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then some Python last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know the syntax of those languages
Yeah.
anymore. They don't really, they're not very important. What's more important is that you understand how software works and how it's created on the back end,
Yeah.
like what code, how code functions. And you know this, you
Mm-hmm.
know software. It's very much the order that you put into a good piece of writing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So now instead of it's even better now in my mind
Mm-hmm.
because I don't need to know that syntax. I don't need to know spend months, years learning this weird language of Python and
Mm-hmm.
HTML and all these other things. I can just use English and structure it
Yeah.
like a software script. And guess what? It works like a piece of software,
Mm-hmm.
exact same way. Except
Yeah.
it's even better because instead of software that has to go line by line, oh, you missed a semicolon, it doesn't work now,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No, with ChatGPT, it infers the meaning. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
you didn't have a semicolon, you wrote a half-baked sentence. I know what you meant. I got you. I'm going to execute it anyway.
Yeah.
And it can give you ideas to iterate off of that. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? This is what Ajani and I are talking about. We are so high level with this stuff, or not even high level. We're so deep into this stuff. We're underground. You can't find us. That this is what I'm working on. I want to help you do this more, bro. Is going back to
Mm.
that beginner mindset of somebody that's looking at like, damn, Ajani is such a whiz at
Yeah.
this stuff, this asteroid stuff. How do I even? I'm interested in it, but I don't even know where to start. I guarantee you, there are so many people that are out there that are like, I'm interested in this, but I have no idea where to start. And it's funny because the starting point is probably one of your books.
Probably.
It's
You
like you
know.
got the starting point. Like, just go back to I have it here. Go back to Hayden's Book of Synastry. Go back to
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
one.
Hayden's Book of Sinistry has the tables. That's a good starting point.
Go back to, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. But then within
But
that book too, it's
yeah.
extracting like, okay, where in the book now? Now I'm in the city. Where do I need to go in the city to
Yeah.
actually, which building do I go into to actually start? And that's what I've been getting better at because the other side of the Japanese story is that I launched just last week. I launched this social media profile called Sergeant Okinawa,
Oh.
Japanese Master. I made this alter ego, brand new X account.
uh,
and he's been learning Japanese for 20 years, and he's super gung-ho and excited to share the language with people.
Uh-huh.
And so through this guy, through this character, I made a beginner Japanese course. A
Uh-huh.
5-day course is called Nihongo Navigator.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
5-day course. It's an email course. And it'll take you through the beginning. It'll tell you how to learn Japanese from scratch,
Okay.
from nothing. And I updated that. That was another thing I did this year. I updated
Uh-huh.
that the first week of the year because that's basically the gateway to get them into my other Japanese stuff.
Uh-huh.
But you need something like that basically for your stuff
Yeah.
because and
Yeah,
and
you
and it, and it
know.
is tough because it requires you to go back and say what it first of it requires you to say what's the most important thing that somebody needs to know. What are the most forget all these other stuff you know, and that's hard as an expert in it for you. That's hard
Hmm.
for it was hard for me as like a Japanese expert as well, or at least an expert in learning Japanese, I should say. Um, where does somebody get started? Like, what is the stuff that the rubber meets the road, the most valuable stuff that a beginner would need to get started?
Yeah.
And not feel that slog feeling that you're talking about, that feeling of because they know the road is long and it's
I
dangerous
I,
to go
I
alone.
think the biggest part of it is that it's like building an alphabet at this point,
Yeah.
and it has 21,000 letters, and
Oh,
you can't like
ouch.
you're illiterate until you have, you know,
But see, even with that,
you know,
I guarantee you there's a starting point. Because
uh,
think about it, like you started somewhere
yeah,
sometime. It was a long time ago, but
yeah,
somehow you didn't get here overnight. And
yeah,
that's the hard part. I think that's a good message for this to wrap up this episode. You can't go back to childhood
no,
when things are so simple.
there
When
you
you
go.
only knew you can't new game plus it.
No.
You can't go back to the beginning with all your knowledge now and start anew. But what you can do is and this takes stopping because it is one of those things. You have to stop breaking ground. You have to come to the surface and retrace your steps. And because
Mm,
and I'm saying this as someone who just did this with Japanese specifically. Like I had to say, okay, where did I start? But then what is cool about it is you can take your existing knowledge and take your existing experience. Like I've tried learning this language in every way possible.
mm,
Immersions, class, the classics to online apps and AI. Like I've done it all in between the last 20 years. But what's the most important things that somebody needs to know? Like I know what doesn't
mm,
work, but I also know what does work. So I want to take those few things, and that's what I put into that course and delivered
mm,
in a format that's like consumable, digestible. It's easy for somebody that's new, if they're interested, of course, to start the journey of 1,000 steps, to take the first step. And I think that's what more people need to do because if you're sitting here listening to this and you have some type of expertise, whatever it is, and you're wondering, you're feeling that feeling of I'm slogging through. I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
slugging. Like this is a 12 round fight and it feels like I'm on round 15. Like why doesn't this end? Like, it might be valuable to stop and
Yeah.
then bring some other people. At least they're so far behind you, they're never going to catch up to you.
Mm,
And that's just a reality. They're just never going to catch up. But you can start bringing them in to the process and know planting those seeds. And you've been in that position, Ajani. You're a teacher. You have a background as teaching as well. And teaching is the same exact thing. The difference is that in teaching, you're given what you're going to hand down.
mhm.
In this
Yeah.
case, you've created what you need to hand down. So you know it so well that it's just kind of this maze of, okay,
The maze only gets bigger.
and the maze only keeps expanding
It keeps expanding.
and the
Just
tools
gotta
keep expanding.
do
And I know you don't
corridors.
like to stop. Like I know you're like me,
Oh,
like you're just doing stuff every day
oh
towards
yeah,
this
man.
goal.
Hours. I'm on this. I'm
Hours,
on this.
yeah. And
Yeah, for hours.
so that's what I've gotten better at integrating into my process, that time to share, that
Mm,
time to distill, okay, what were the key takeaways here? Like what's the point?
yeah.
Like where because I mean and that's the ironic thing, right? You said that your uh your faith in a lot of things has gone down. And I think that's a good way to bring it up is to find
Mm,
other people that are at the beginning of the road. And that's what I
mm,
got from, I don't know about you, but that's what I got from teaching. That's why I like teaching so
mm,
much is that
mm,
you get, you don't get everybody that's interested in what you're in buying what you're selling. You're
yeah,
teaching math
yeah,
and quadratic equation. Oh, why do we have to do this? Like
yeah.
you get this, but occasionally you find somebody who's really like, damn, this is good. I love this. And this is great. And those people just, I don't know about you, but those fill me up because it's like,
Yeah,
here's
yeah,
somebody that is getting this directly from me. And
yeah.
I'm contributing to their enjoyment of this, their expansion of knowledge with this. And I have a feeling that will be even more so, even more powerful when
Mm.
it's your own stuff. It's not the math curriculum. It's your
Hopefully
asteroid stuff.
something happens, man.
So
But
I
I
mean,
mean, I know it's gonna, I'll get to that thousandth mile at some point.
we can talk. We can
It's,
talk after. We can talk
yeah.
after because I definitely, I feel like the time is now. The time is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I feel like the
And just for anybody listening, it's not like I'm down about it. It's
yeah,
just it's that
it is
phase.
what it is. Yeah,
It's this is that part of it where you just heads down and I
yeah,
just
into
keep
the
going. I
grindstone.
don't, yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, I know that's where you operate most of the time, and I
yeah.
know, unlike me, you don't like doing the outward facing stuff. You don't like doing the marketing and all this stuff and dumbing your stuff down. And it's hard, man, because I
And
feel the
now
same
it's
way. I don't like
and I
doing that either.
appreciate I now I appreciate what it is to give simpler explanations. Now I do,
Yes,
but it's almost like it's too late. There is no simpler explanation for the phase of stuff that I'm working on.
exactly. The phase of stuff that you're in. But if you go
It's
back
like,
to the
you know,
beginning stuff, there is like
yeah.
you can because
There's
you
probably
got
an entry point in there somewhere, but I
there
wouldn't
is
know where it was. Uh,
exactly. You're so deep in the dungeon that you forgot where the entrance was. It happens.
Yo, yeah, that's
You'd
right.
have to like get somebody. Okay, go out and tell me where the entrance of
Tell me
this
where
thing
the entrance
is. It's
was.
like
Like I don't
it's that
I don't know
you.
anymore.
I think of the You probably never been there. The Winchester House
No,
in San
no,
Jose, California.
uh,
That's the house that it just she built the house. It's like the Winchester rifle heiress.
wow.
Dude, I think I'm probably getting this wrong. I haven't been there in years, but I think the husband died. She was the heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune or whatever, and she built this massive house that just has doors to nowhere. It's kind of a crazy, kind of weird house, and that's what that image came to my mind of you've got this really elaborate house, and maybe it looks beautiful on the outside, but hell if you
Uh,
know, because you're building the staircase that leads into a wall. You don't know if it leads to a wall. Maybe it leads through a wall or something. Point is, like, you would need somebody standing on the outside to be like, what does
uh,
this thing look like? And you tell me from out there what it
uh,
looks like and how somebody could get in and get to where I'm at. And I
yeah.
guarantee you it's there.
Yo,
It just
that makes total sense. That does make sense.
it just takes the effort to
Yeah.
get there. But yeah, we should cut this off here. We've been over a little over an hour. We can talk about the rest
Yeah.
of my stuff
Yeah, man.
on
Yeah, this
here.
we got some offline
Um,
stuff.
but thanks for listening to this episode of Two Brothers Talking, first one of 2024. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this year. I'm really excited. I tell you, one of my goals, if you listen to this, okay, one of my goals for this year is to make money from my stuff. And so I set a very modest goal this month of making $100. $100. That's all I got to do. And
There
I
you
and
go.
I win the game. And so check out my stuff on keithhayden.net, the new and improved
Uh-huh.
keithhayden.net, and take a look around. See if you find something that you like. And
It
I don't
really
know
is
if you
worth it,
read
y'all. Y'all need to check it out. It's good.
is
And Keith services. But see, people don't know because it's almost like hiring a robot to do your stuff. Except
right, right.
it's like hiring a robot, except the robot has a coach and Keith would be the coach of the robot. But yo, it's on some new shit.
Yeah, man.
For
Yeah.
real.
So, and it's not just like working with me services either. Like my books are on there too, and my other stuffs, my other offerings and things like that.
Mhm.
So, if you see something you like, if you're interested in learning how to write with AI, that's another project that I didn't really get to mention. I'm working on um, I'm not going to go into a detailed explanation of this, but I'm working on a way to allow people to write books without being you don't have to be a novelist. You don't have to be like a really good writer. You just think of like Mad Libs from back in the day. It's not
Mhm.
going to be that simple, but
Yeah.
it's going to be an evolved version of that using AI. I'm developing something with that, some AI software. That's what's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I'm developing that. So be on the lookout for that soon. If you're interested in this stuff, join my email list. My email list isn't just an email list now. It's actually a newsletter. This is another thing that I launched. It's called Story and You. This is a storytelling newsletter to tell you all about storytelling, to whether you are a leader, a writer, a podcaster, whatever, social media person, storytelling it's all storytelling, just like we've talked about in this episode. If you want to get better at it, learn some of my experience, then join the newsletter because I've got a lot of things planned for this newsletter. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So that's all I got for this episode of Two Brothers Talking. Ajani, you got anything?
I got two things, but it has nothing to do
Oh,
with me at all. Go to ocremix.org, y'all, and look for Legend of Zelda,
Legend of
Link's
Zelda,
Awakening, Link's
Mysterious
Awakening,
Gold Edition.
the Mysterious Gold Edition. And if you want to know just how skilled these musicians are, I got a second song for you. Secret of Mana. The full title is called No Cab, Fan Pride, Boku no Infinite Thoughty Gaiden.
Oh my God. Okay. The last
That
part's
one,
Japanese.
that last song is the craziest song I've heard in a couple of years.
What is it
The
called? Boku no what?
Infinite Thoughty Gaiden.
Infinite. Okay, I think if I just put Infinite, I'll probably find it.
Yes. And look those two songs up and don't let anybody tell you that listening to video game music is listening to just pixels and stuff.
Noise.
Although that stuff,
Mm,
yeah, there's pixels and square waves and stuff like that, because there is some talent that you never heard of. You can't
right,
do. I can't
right,
do it. Only these people can do it. You know,
right.
skills. Props to ocremix.org, Overclocked, for giving musicians a chance to really hone their craft and get really good, do some really innovative, avant-garde, entertaining stuff.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Awesome. Well, whether or not you came out 2024 with a bang like I did, or you're slugging it through like Ajani is, either way, hey, Ajani, you've already knocked off 20 steps off of that
I
that journey
have.
of 1,000 steps. So 20 steps is not nothing. You've done something. And so it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
you're starting slow or fast. Keep going. Uh, you definitely have our support, and it would be great to work with you on a deeper level if whenever Ajani's ready. But I'm ready. So if you're interested in writing a book, go find me on keytaden.net and I might be able to help you with something. All right. Thanks for listening to this one or watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.